From construction to cars, steel is an important material for industry. Levels of demand can be a good barometer for how economies are doing. But for the last few years, it's been tough for the steel industry as global prices have slumped. One of India's biggest producers is Jindal Steel and Power. Justin Rowlett caught up with Chief Executive Ravi Uppal and began by asking him about the current demand for steel in India.
Well, the Indian demand hasn't grown as much as we thought in the recent years, because some of the infrastructure projects didn't quite grow to the level it was required. But it is picking up now. Since the new government has come, there's a lot of feel-good factor. The investor confidence is coming back. And a lot of new infrastructure projects in particular are all set to take off. So I have a fairly optimistic view when it comes to anticipating demand for the next couple of years at least.
So it's been a very dramatic time for steel prices over the last 5 or 6 years. I mean, they peaked at, what, $185 a ton, and they've crashed down now to, what, $55, $60 a ton. I mean, that's a very dramatic change. How has that affected your business?
We are, if I should take the liberty of saying, we are a kind of niche player. We are producing some special grades of steel. We are not into the mass market producing commercial grades of steel. So to that extent, we try to increase the net, the value of realization compared to others. But I must say at the same time, we are now also quite affected by the general drop in prices. I just hope things will start to look up, especially here in India. I think that we have a huge propensity for consumption. It is just that we haven't had our act going, but it should now.
Steel prices historically are, as you say, at an exceptionally low level. How able is the Indian steel industry to sustain itself through this period of very low prices?
Well, it definitely, I must confess that it definitely has brought a lot of stress, not only for us, but for the entire steel industry, both in India and outside. There's another thing which is affecting India, that we have, absolutely unchecked imports of steel into the country. The Indian manufacturers in some ways have some kind of disadvantage compared to Chinese. I wouldn't call that as a complete level playing field between us and Chinese. Therefore, we have some disadvantage. So I hope the government of India will take, sort of cognizance of this, and they will try to see that there's a level playing field by way of creating either non-tariff barriers or tariff barriers to the extent required.
Are you asking for protectionism to protect?
But not quite. But on the other hand, we have to make sure that the Indian industry is given a chance to survive and grow. Because as of now, the Indian industrial industry ranks 4th in the world after China, Japan, and United States. We can easily go to the number 2, rank. But it will be a distant 2 after China. But I think even after you come to the rank number 2, you run the risk you may not survive the way China has set up its capacity.
One of the big changes that's happened in India is the change of government, and Prime Minister Modi has come to power. How optimistic are you about his ability to change India to increase demand for steel?
I think Mr. Modi, is a great leader. He can really build up people's enthusiasm, energy level. He's doing a lot of reforms when it comes to policies. He's trying to build a momentum. But I'm afraid it's going to take a bit of a time before we get to see the results. Because in some of the cases, he really had to undo things and sort of set out a new charter of activities. So we have to allow him a little more time and be a little more patient with him. But I think he looks very committed, and he is addressing all the sectors, not in any geographical pocket, but across the country. So I am quite optimistic that that we'll get to see the results of his efforts in another 6 to 9 months' time.
Ravi Uppal of Jindal Steel and Power there, speaking with Justin Rowlett. Right, now it's time to take a break, but when we come back, currency wars, how the appreciating dollar has become a cause for concern for India's manufacturers.